There are words that seem harmless, gestures that appear kind, and moments so ordinary that they pass unnoticed. Yet within them lies an ancient danger. It begins with a simple smile, a compliment, a soft phrase that feels like warmth. You answer politely, almost automatically, "Thank you." And without realizing it, something inside you opens. An invisible thread stretches between souls, and through that thread, energy begins to flow. You think you are being kind, but what if that single word is silently draining your strength, your luck, your peace of mind? Helena Blavatsky once said that every word is alive, vibrating with unseen power. The universe, she taught, listens to every tone, every breath, and every intention. To speak without awareness is to cast a spell you do not understand. Behind each act of politeness may hide an exchange far greater than you imagine. A secret trade of energy, a spiritual transaction between minds. When admiration carries envy, when praise hides desire, it becomes a subtle theft of light, and we, unknowingly, open the door and invite it in. This is not superstition, but the science of the soul, a truth known to mystics, monks, and ancient adepts who understood that attention itself is a force. Every glance, every word, every thought touches the invisible layers of another being. What we call a compliment might, in the unseen world, be the beginning of an energetic invasion. Blavatsky believed that protection is not resistance but knowledge, that to master one's energy, one must first see the unseen. Tonight we enter that hidden dimension. You will discover why a simple word can shift your fate, and how a forgotten phrase, preserved through centuries of esoteric wisdom, can shield your life from invisible harm. Stay until the end, because once you hear it, you will never speak the same way again, and you will never listen to a compliment with innocent ears. There are moments in life that seem ordinary until something inside whispers that nothing is ever ordinary. A simple word, a casual smile, an innocent compliment, and yet beneath that calm surface, an invisible exchange begins. It happens in the street, in the office, at a family dinner. Someone looks at you, their eyes linger, their tone sweetens, and they say, "You look wonderful today." You smile, polite and grateful, and answer automatically, "Thanks so, you." But as those words leave your lips, a door opens that you cannot see. The air between you shifts, energy moves, and something subtle, almost imperceptible, is taken from you. Helena Blavatsky once said that nothing in this world is empty. Even silence has its vibration. Every thought, every sound, every gesture creates ripples in the unseen fabric that surrounds us. She believed that what we call reality is only the shadow of a greater world, a world of forces, thoughts, and invisible beings that respond to every movement of our soul. And in that world, words are not harmless. They are instruments of creation or destruction. Think about how often you have felt drained after speaking with someone who seemed friendly, or how a compliment that felt sincere at first later left you uneasy, without knowing why. Science might call it emotional fatigue, but the ancients saw something deeper, an invisible transaction between spirits. They believed that attention itself is energy, that when someone looks at you with desire, curiosity, or envy, a part of their inner force reaches toward you, seeking to touch your light. Blavatsky called this invisible interaction the magnetism of thought. She compared it to unseen threads connecting every living being. Some of these threads nourish and strengthen us. Others cling like vines, slowly pulling at our life force. The human aura, she taught, is like a luminous field surrounding the body, sensitive, reactive, and responsive to the vibrations of others. Every praise, every word of admiration touches that field. But not every touch is gentle. Imagine for a moment that you are surrounded by a soft, radiant light, your personal energy vibrating in perfect balance. Then, someone nearby admires you, perhaps innocently, perhaps not. Their admiration, even if kind, is charged with emotion. It sends a vibration toward your field, and your light begins to resonate with theirs. If their intention is pure, the energy flows in harmony. But if their admiration hides envy, longing, or inner dissatisfaction, their vibration carries a distortion, and your energy, trying to adjust, loses part of its clarity. Blavatsky wrote that the most dangerous forces are not those we see, but those we allow without understanding. We allow people into our inner space every day. Through their words, their smiles, their presence. We share laughter. We share secrets. But we also share energy. The invisible economy of human contact is constant. And in that exchange, something sacred is always at risk. Our vitality, our inner balance, our peace. There are ancient records of monks in Tibet who, after long years of silence, would cover their faces when praised. Not from pride, but from protection. They knew that admiration, even well-intentioned, can pierce the aura like a needle through silk. The force of attention is like fire. It warms, but it can also burn. In India, Blavatsky observed rituals in which people would touch the ground after receiving a compliment, symbolically grounding the energy back to the earth so it would not disturb their inner harmony. What if our modern politeness, our automatic responses have made us blind to the same laws that ancient wisdom once guarded with reverence? When you say thank you, what truly happens? To the ordinary mind, it is a gesture of kindness, but to the trained observer of the unseen, it is an opening of the heart, a release of energy, an acknowledgement of another's influence. By saying thank you, you affirm the other's power to affect you. You create a channel through which subtle energy can move. And once open, that channel does not easily close. Have you ever wondered why, after receiving praise, you sometimes feel strangely uncomfortable? Why the joy of being admired fades so quickly, replaced by fatigue, anxiety, or sudden self-doubt? Blavatsky believed that this is not coincidence. It is the natural consequence of an unguarded energy exchange. A momentary lapse of awareness allows external forces to enter your field. The compliment may be genuine, but the energy it carries is mixed, and your subconscious senses the imbalance before your mind does. The ancient texts say that every act of recognition carries both light and shadow. When someone admires your success, they often awaken in themselves the quiet ache of comparison. When they see your happiness, a seed of their own longing stirs. That mixture of admiration and regret becomes a vibration of envy, not always intentional, but real. It travels along the invisible thread that connects you, seeking balance by borrowing your strength. Blavatsky described this process as psychic osmosis. Just as the body exchanges air and water with the world, the soul exchanges thoughts and emotions, and the words we speak are the openings through which that exchange flows. To live unconsciously, she warned, is to invite the world to feed on your light. To live consciously is to rule your invisible kingdom. But how does one recognize this hidden theft? Sometimes it shows in small ways. The sudden weariness after a cheerful conversation, the feeling of being watched even when alone, the strange heaviness that follows praise. Other times it manifests as failure, plans that suddenly stop working, objects that break, opportunities that vanish after being admired. These are not superstitions. They are symptoms of energetic interference, reflections of subtle dissonance in your magnetic field. The universe, Blavatsky taught, is not governed by chance but by correspondence. Every cause creates an echo. Every exchange leaves a trace. The invisible threads that link us form a web of mutual influence. And within that web, intention is everything. The one who understands intention commands energy. The one who ignores it becomes its victim. Modern science has begun to glimpse what ancient mystics already knew. Studies on emotional contagion show that moods, thoughts, and even levels of confidence spread between people like invisible waves. Blavatsky would have smiled at this discovery. To her, it was only a small part of a greater truth, that we are all transmitters and receivers of psychic force. Every interaction is an experiment in unseen physics, and every word you speak is a note that vibrates through the ether, shaping not only the world around you but the state of your soul. So, the next time someone praises you, pause for a moment before answering. Feel the vibration behind the words. Ask yourself, is this admiration pure, or does it carry a shadow? Are you responding from awareness or from habit? Because in that tiny instant lies the difference between strength and loss, between being a master of energy and a vessel of its random currents. Blavatsky believed that awareness is the highest protection. She taught that the wise person lives as a watchman at the gate of their own mind, allowing only those energies that harmonize with their higher self. To speak consciously is to create boundaries of light. To react mechanically is to let the winds of the world blow through your soul. And the cost of unconscious speech is far greater than most imagine. Perhaps the real question is not whether others can steal your energy, but why we give it away so easily. Why do we feel compelled to respond, to please, to confirm the other's perception of us? Maybe the answer lies in our need for approval, in the ancient wound of wanting to be seen and valued. Yet Blavatsky would remind us that the soul does not need praise to shine. The sun does not ask for applause. True light simply is. And so, she would say, learn to stand in silence. Accept kindness but remain sovereign. Let admiration pass through you without taking root. For when you know the hidden power of words, you begin to speak differently, to listen differently, to live differently. The invisible world becomes visible, and every encounter becomes sacred. Because nothing is truly casual in a universe where thought creates form and intention shapes destiny. But what if there existed an ancient phrase, a sacred formula capable not only of closing this invisible door but of returning any harmful energy to its source? Blavatsky hinted that such knowledge was once given only to initiates, hidden within the mysteries of the East. Could a single line of forgotten wisdom protect you from every unspoken envy, every false smile, every unseen theft of light? That, she said, is the secret that separates those who sleep from those who awaken. And it is a secret that waits just beyond the veil of the next revelation. There are moments when you feel a sudden change in the air around you, a shift so subtle that reason cannot explain it. You walk into a room full of people, and although everyone smiles, something feels off. You sense an invisible pressure, as if the atmosphere carries more than words. Helena Blavatsky believed that such sensations are not imagination. They are the whisper of the invisible currents that constantly move between human beings. She called them psychic winds, flows, of energy shaped by emotions and intentions. Every human thought, she said, leaves a trace in the unseen world. And when several of these traces overlap, they create an invisible weather that influences everything it touches. Have you ever noticed how entering some places makes you feel immediately calm, while others drain you within minutes? Why do certain people leave you inspired, while others, even without speaking, leave you tired or restless? These are not coincidences. They are the result of the emotional magnetism Blavatsky spoke about, the same force that transmits both peace and disturbance. In this magnetic field, compliments, glances, and even silent judgments carry power. A word can elevate you, but it can also subtly pull your energy down. Think of that moment when someone praises you in a way that feels heavy, almost invasive. They say, "You always get everything you want," but something in their tone disturbs you. You laugh it off. Maybe you answer politely, but inside, a seed of discomfort is planted. Hours later, you feel inexplicably anxious or discouraged. What happened? Energy moved. A silent exchange took place, and your field received a vibration that was not yours. Blavatsky warned that unguarded admiration mixed with envy is one of the most common ways human beings unconsciously exchange vitality. She compared it to spiritual dust that settles invisibly until you notice it's, wait, this happens everywhere. In workplaces, friendships, even families. A colleague congratulates you but feels bitterness inside. A friend says she is happy for you, yet her eyes reveal another truth. A relative tells you how lucky you are, while secretly wondering why life did not give them the same. You feel it but dismiss it. The mind says it is nothing, but the body remembers. The vibration lingers. Blavatsky often spoke of the great illusion of separation, the idea that we are isolated minds inside individual shells. In truth, she said, we are connected by invisible threads of force, a living network where every emotion travels instantly. The world you see is only half of reality. The other half exists in the realm of energy, where words, thoughts, and intentions collide, merge, and transform. Once you understand this, you start to see why protection is not superstition, it is awareness. Imagine for a moment, a young artist who shares her work online. People admire her paintings, comment with love, but among hundreds of kind words, one small sentence reads, "You used to be better." It is just an opinion, but something in her changes. Her motivation fades, her confidence weakens. That single vibration, hidden in text, crosses space and touches her energy. Blavatsky said that every word is a vessel. If the vessel carries poison, even a single drop can alter the water of the soul. Yet the opposite is also true. A word of light can restore, uplift, and heal. We live surrounded by invisible influences, and most people never learn to see them. They go through life reacting instead of perceiving, absorbing instead of radiating. Blavatsky taught that the first step to mastery is observation, to notice what enters your field and how it affects your emotions. When you feel suddenly low for no reason, ask yourself, what did I just receive? Whose thought touched me? The answer often hides in plain sight. There is an old story told among Tibetan adepts of a man who lost everything after becoming famous for his kindness. People came from far away to thank him, to praise him, to bless him. Yet, with each visit, he grew weaker until he could hardly stand. A sage saw his state and said, "You are dying from too many blessings. Learn to return them to their source." That lesson is at the heart of Blavatsky's teachings. Energy must circulate. To keep it, you must master the art of conscious return. When someone admires you, do not absorb the energy blindly. Anchor yourself, reflect it, transmute it. This is not arrogance, it is sacred self-preservation. Every emotion you accept without awareness becomes a seed planted in your energy field. Some seeds bloom as joy, others as fatigue or confusion. When the world praises you, be grateful. But remember, gratitude without consciousness opens the gates of your aura. True gratitude is calm and firm. It does not kneel, it stands. It receives the light and sends it back purified. Blavatsky believed that most suffering begins not from malice, but from ignorance. People do not know what they send. They do not realize that a careless word can strike like lightning or heal like the sun. And because we do not see energy with the physical eye, we underestimate its power. Yet deep down, we all feel it. When someone stares too long, when a conversation leaves you uneasy, when an argument echoes in your chest long after it ends, that is energy speaking in its own language. If you could see the world as Blavatsky described it, you would see colors moving through the air, lights connecting hearts, and shadows clinging to unguarded minds. You would see how every moment of love expands your light, while every moment of resentment dims it. And you would understand why she said, "To guard your thoughts is to guard your destiny." Now imagine applying this in daily life. Before leaving home, you take a moment to breathe, to fill yourself with quiet awareness. You walk through the day as if surrounded by an invisible sphere of clarity. When someone speaks to you, you listen not only to their words, but to their energy. If you feel harmony, you receive. If you feel disturbance, you reflect it back with calm strength. Your smile becomes your shield, your silence your fortress. In time, you notice that you are no longer tired after social encounters. People feel peace around you because you are no longer reacting. You are creating equilibrium. This is the true beginning of mastery. But the path does not end there. Energy, Blavatsky said, obeys consciousness. What you affirm becomes your reality. What you speak with intention becomes form. That is why every word of light spoken aloud multiplies your protection and radiance. If you want to anchor positive energy in your life right now, speak with awareness. Write your words with purpose. And today, you can begin with a single phrase that carries the vibration of strength and harmony. Write in the comments below. Positivity is with me and in me. As you write it, imagine that every letter shines with white light, sealing your aura with clarity and confidence. You are not just typing words, you are programming your energy. You are declaring your sovereignty to the universe. Each person who writes this phrase will strengthen the invisible circle of light that connects us here and now. And if you feel this message resonating deep within your heart, it means you are part of a small group who can truly understand the hidden laws that Blavatsky revealed to the world, the ones who sense that life is more than what we see. For you, There is a sign waiting in the corner of this screen. It is red, glowing, almost calling your name. Only the chosen will feel it. Only the chosen will click on the red button to subscribe to this channel and receive the blessings of awareness, protection, and light. If you feel that pull, do not ignore it. It is your intuition guiding you to stay close to the teachings that awaken the sleeping power within. Your journey has already begun, and those who walk in light never walk alone. The most dangerous forces in life are the ones that appear harmless. Helena Blavatsky believed that the greatest threats to the human soul are not those that roar, but those that whisper softly, disguised as kindness, routine, or polite habit. Among those whispers, there is one that almost everyone repeats without thinking, a word that millions pronounce every day unaware of its hidden vibration. That word is thank you. 2 gentle syllables, innocent in appearance, yet powerful enough to open unseen doors between worlds. Blavatsky wrote that words are containers of thought, and thought is the first act of creation. When we speak, we move invisible matter. The air vibrates, the ether responds, and subtle forces arrange themselves according to the pattern of our intention. Every word carries a command to the universe. So what happens when you say thank you? You believe you are expressing gratitude, but in the esoteric sense, you are performing an invocation, a plea, a surrender. The ancient roots of the word reveal it clearly. Spasi Bog, meaning God save me. Each time you say it, you unconsciously declare, I am in need, I am under something greater, I require rescue. And the universe, always obedient, listens. It is not evil to express gratitude, but when words are repeated without awareness, they lose their light and become hollow shells. Empty shells attract wandering energies. What if every time you say thank you, you open a small window in your aura, inviting in not only the intention of kindness, but also every vibration mixed within the moment, the compliment that carried a trace of envy, the praise laced with comparison, the smile that hid insecurity. All of it enters when the gate is unguarded. Have you ever felt uneasy after being thanked, or after thanking someone? That brief moment of emotional emptiness, the strange sense of having given too much? It is the echo of an energetic imbalance. Blavatsky said that this is how human beings unknowingly spend their inner currency, the subtle energy that feeds thought, emotion, and even health. The polite rituals of modern life, though beautiful in intention, often create invisible debts of energy. We give and receive without knowing the cost. She taught that the universe has its own laws of exchange. Every act of giving sets in motion a return. But when the act is not conscious, the return becomes unpredictable. Gratitude spoken mechanically does not generate harmony. It creates dependency. The one who gives unconsciously begins to expect recognition. The one who receives unconsciously begins to give energy to the giver. In both cases, awareness is lost, and the soul becomes entangled in small psychic transactions that repeat endlessly. Pause for a moment and think, how often do you say words you do not feel? How often do you smile out of obligation? These tiny acts of self-betrayal, repeated daily, fragment the aura. They separate the voice from the heart, and in that gap, other forces can enter. Blavatsky described this as a form of spiritual leakage, a slow draining of inner power through the cracks of insincerity. But if the act of gratitude can weaken you, what can strengthen you? Blavatsky found the answer not in silence, but in transformation. She believed that words should evolve with consciousness. Instead of saying thank you, she advised using phrases of affirmation, expressions that reflect awareness rather than surrender. Words like, I appreciate this deeply, or your kindness honors me, keep the energy grounded. They affirm equality, not hierarchy. You are not asking for rescue. You are acknowledging connection. Now imagine applying this in your life. The next time someone praises you, instead of bowing inwardly, you meet their gaze calmly. You breathe, feel your strength, and say something that affirms both your value and theirs. Immediately, the energy changes. The current between you becomes balanced. You remain whole. The invisible exchange ends in harmony, not loss. What if the simple act of awareness could change every interaction you Blavatsky believed that consciousness transforms everything it touches. To her, ignorance was the only sin. Not moral ignorance, but the blindness of living without seeing the invisible structure beneath every event. She wrote that humanity lives surrounded by laws of energy as real as gravity, yet few ever learn to use them. And when these laws are ignored, they act by default. Words spoken unconsciously become commands given by accident. Gratitude becomes submission. Politeness becomes a ritual of weakness. Do you see how easily good intentions can be twisted by habit? How something as sacred as gratitude can become a channel for exhaustion? Blavatsky compared the human mind to an instrument of magic, an altar where each word is an offering. If you speak with love and power, you build temples of light. If you speak without attention, you scatter your energy like dust in the wind. The difference lies not in what you say, but in how awake you are when you say it. Some people will ask, "But if I stop saying thank you, won't I seem rude?" Blavatsky would answer, "True courtesy is not in the word, but in the vibration. The energy behind your speech is what others feel. If your presence radiates balance, your silence can be warmer than any polite phrase. Words are only symbols. The power lies in the consciousness that gives them life." She often reminded her students that the greatest initiates spoke little but meant much. Each word was chosen as carefully as one might choose a seed before planting, because each word once spoken continues to live. It vibrates through time, returning to its source in ways the human mind cannot predict. To speak unconsciously is to cast a shadow that may follow you for years. To speak with awareness is to create a light that continues to protect you. Consider how your life might change if you became fully aware of every word you utter. How many conflicts could dissolve? How many hidden energies could be redirected toward peace? Blavatsky taught that language is the forgotten science of creation. Modern people use it as decoration, but the ancients used it as a key to move the subtle worlds. In temples of Egypt, priests trained for years before being allowed to speak certain sacred syllables aloud. They knew that sound was not communication, it was transformation. Could it be that every person still carries this ancient power within their voice? And if so, what happens when we begin to remember it? What if our daily speech could shape not only our relationships but the entire flow of destiny around us? Blavatsky warned that when humanity forgets the sacredness of speech, it becomes a prisoner of its own noise. We live surrounded by words, spoken, written, digital, but few of them carry soul. To restore balance, she said, one must learn the lost art of the conscious word. That is the language of the masters, speech that heals, commands, and protects. It begins with silence, then grows through awareness. So tonight, try an experiment. Watch your words as if they were living creatures. When you speak, feel the vibration they create. When you say, "Thank you," notice the emotion behind it. Is it gratitude or habit? Is it love or fear? The answer will tell you much about your current energy. Blavatsky believed that this simple act of observation is the first step to liberation. Because once you see, you cannot unsee. The world around you changes the moment you begin to hear it differently. People respond to your calmness. Situations that once drained you lose their power. The unseen currents start to obey your will. You begin to walk as a conscious being in an unconscious world, awake while others dream. But then comes the question, what happens when you truly stop repeating empty gratitude? How does the universe respond when you no longer ask to be saved, but affirm your divine power instead? Perhaps, as Blavatsky believed, the world itself begins to answer differently. The energy that once escaped returns to you. The subtle debts dissolve. You no longer give your light away. You become its guardian. In this realization lies both power and responsibility. To speak consciously is to take back your creative authority. It is to admit that every joy, every sorrow, every event in your life has been shaped by the words you have spoken, to yourself and to others. This knowledge can awaken awe or fear, but once you understand it, you cannot return to ignorance. The next time you are about to say, "Thank you," pause. Feel the silence before the word. Within that silence lies choice. The choice between reaction and awareness, between weakness and sovereignty. In that small pause, You decide what kind of world your words will build. And perhaps, somewhere, Blavatsky's words still echo. Man is his own savior and his own destroyer. She meant that we are all builders of invisible temples with every sentence we speak. Some build houses of light, others build walls of dependency. What will you build with your next word? The power of transformation begins not in the heavens but on the tongue. It is the bridge between the seen and unseen. Use it wisely, and it will protect you. Use it blindly, and it will rule you. The choice, as always, is yours. Every great change begins with awareness. Helena Blavatsky often said that knowledge without application is like fire kept under glass, bright but useless. In the previous lessons, she revealed how words can create invisible exchanges of energy. Now she leads us deeper to the next revelation, the language of protection and mastery. There is a way to speak, to act, and even to think that prevents the loss of energy entirely. It does not belong to one culture or religion, but to an ancient law that governs all consciousness. What you affirm, you become. This is not philosophy. It is a science of vibration that every enlightened civilization knew. From the Egyptian priests to the Himalayan lamas, from the mystics of Persia to the shamans of the Andes, all understood that the tongue is both a weapon and a shield. Blavatsky wrote that humanity forgot this law when it began to separate spirit from matter, when it reduced the sacred act of speaking into mere communication. But the truth never disappeared. It simply went silent, waiting to be rediscovered by those who listen beyond words. In every age, a few have remembered. They spoke differently, walked differently, even breathed differently. Their speech had weight, their silence had power. People felt calm near them, as if protected by something invisible. You may have met such a person in your life, someone whose presence seems to balance the atmosphere, whose words seem to realign your thoughts. That person lives by the same principle Blavatsky taught. Energy follows awareness. Around the world, there are small communities still practicing these ancient disciplines. In Tibet, monks chant protective mantras that stabilize the mind. In Africa, healers use rhythmic language to cleanse the emotional body. In modern neuroscience, researchers have begun to prove what mystics always knew. The human voice can alter brain frequencies, slow the heart rate, and even change blood chemistry. A study from Harvard Medical School showed that repeating specific positive phrases can reduce anxiety by up to 40%. The same research revealed that negative or fearful words increase cortisol levels, draining the immune system. Science is finally tracing the border where speech and biology meet, the same border Blavatsky explored a century earlier through the language of spirit. Imagine this. A woman in a busy city walks into her office after a tense morning. Her co-workers greet her with automatic smiles, the kind that never reach the eyes. She feels a wave of invisible pressure, as if something heavy sits in the air. Without saying anything, she remembers what she learned from these teachings. She inhales, straightens her back, and silently repeats to herself, "My energy is mine. My peace remains with me." The shift is immediate. Her breathing slows. The tension does not disappear, but it no longer enters her. Her awareness becomes her shield. This is not superstition. It is the conscious management of the life force that moves through every interaction. Blavatsky taught that the true initiate walks through chaos untouched, not because the world changes, but because perception does. When you control your inner vibration, external vibrations can no longer command you. This is the foundation of all mystical protection, mastery of resonance. The Tibetan word for this is tune, meaning harmony between the inner tone and the outer world. The more the two are aligned, the less discord can affect you. When people praise or criticize you, when life blesses or challenges you, your energy remains centered. The storm may roar, but the flame at the heart of your being does not flicker. But what happens when the storm targets you directly? When the words carry hidden envy? When admiration becomes intrusion? For this, Blavatsky revealed a formula so simple and yet so potent that it transcends cultures and languages. It is a phrase that acts as both mirror and armor. It must never be spoken aloud, only thought with clarity. When the gaze of another feels heavy or false, When the compliment carries unease, she taught to say inwardly, "Your words to your shoulders, my good remains with me." These few words contain an entire philosophy. They return all borrowed energy to its source and seal your own energy within you. The moment you think it, the invisible thread that connects you to the other retracts. The energy exchange ends, balanced by truth. Modern psychology offers an interesting parallel. Studies on emotional boundaries show that visualizing separation or return can instantly reduce physiological stress. When participants imagined sending unwanted energy back to its origin, their heart rhythm normalized faster than when they did nothing. The mind, it seems, obeys the same laws that mystics described. Thought creates form, and form influences the body. This means that the simple act of conscious affirmation not only changes your emotions but reshapes your entire energetic state. Blavatsky would call this the practice of mental alchemy, turning unconscious reactions into conscious creation. This secret phrase is not just a defense, it is a declaration of sovereignty. It tells the universe, "I am whole, I am self-contained, I am not open to manipulation." And yet its beauty lies in compassion. It does not attack or curse, it simply reflects. Whatever energy was sent returns to its rightful owner, purified by your neutrality. If their words were good, they receive their good back. If their intention was harmful, they face their own reflection. It is the most ethical magic of all, the law of cause and return in motion. The effectiveness of this method does not depend on belief, but on conviction. The emotion behind the phrase is what activates it. Blavatsky insisted that the heart and mind must speak together. Mechanical repetition is useless. Awareness is the key. When you pronounce it within, do so with calm certainty, as if closing a golden lock around your energy. In that moment, you are not defending out of fear, but affirming out of power. And power that is calm is power that endures. Throughout history, stories of invisible protection have appeared in every culture. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Empedocles wrote that each soul is surrounded by a sphere of light that grows stronger when one lives with inner harmony. In Japan, samurai practiced a mental technique called mushin, or no mind, entering a state so clear that no hostility could reach them. In the Amazon, tribes still teach that every person carries a song of power, a vibration that, when remembered, keeps evil away. These are all echoes of the same truth that Blavatsky dedicated her life to teaching. Awareness is armor, and consciousness is the ultimate protection. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract peace wherever they go, while others seem followed by conflict? What if the difference lies not in luck but in resonance, in the subtle tone of their thoughts? Blavatsky believed that the soul emits a frequency like a musical note. When that note is pure, discord cannot attach. But when it is distorted by fear or guilt, it attracts similar vibrations from the world. The universe is a perfect mirror. Whatever you carry within, it reflects back to you through people, events, and circumstances. Now think of the billions of human interactions happening every day. Billions of emotional signals, words, and glances forming a web of unseen energy around the planet. According to a global study by the HeartMath Institute, collective emotions can influence measurable changes in the Earth's magnetic field. During times of global fear or unity, subtle electromagnetic shifts occur. If collective thought can affect the planet itself, imagine how your individual thoughts affect the field around you. Blavatsky foresaw this connection long before modern science. She called humanity a single organism where each person is a cell in the body of the Earth. To heal the world, we must first heal our vibration. In one of her journals, Blavatsky described an experience in which she felt attacked by a wave of mental negativity while traveling in Europe. Instead of resisting, she focused her mind and visualized her energy as a radiant sphere. Within moments, she said, the disturbance vanished as if dissolved by light. This, she wrote, is how every human can reclaim their strength, by turning awareness inward and remembering their origin in the divine. When you hold your light, darkness cannot feed. The ancient phrase you now know, "Your words to your shoulders, my good remains with me," is the essence of this teaching. It is a reminder that no force can harm the one who knows who they are. Every time you use it, you reinforce your energetic identity, the part of you that no envy or judgment can touch. In time, this awareness grows so strong that you no longer need to defend at all. The world's vibrations pass through you harmlessly, like wind through crystal. That is the ultimate goal. Not resistance, but transparency. Before we move to the final revelation, pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Feel the quiet presence that watches these words. That awareness is the same power Blavatsky spoke of. It is ancient, indestructible, infinite. It cannot be stolen, only forgotten. Every act of remembering restores it. When you speak consciously, when you guard your energy, when you reflect rather than absorb, you are remembering your true nature. Somewhere in the invisible world, that remembrance echoes, and the universe responds. The moment you realize that your light is yours by divine right, you step into the same current that guided the sages, the mystics, the initiates. You become not just a seeker of truth, but a living instrument of it. That is what Blavatsky wanted humanity to understand, that protection is not about walls, but about awakening. When you are fully awake, nothing false can enter, because there is no doorway left unguarded. There comes a moment when understanding must become experience, when ideas must descend from the mind into the heart. Helena Blavatsky said that knowledge without transformation is like a lamp without oil. It shines briefly and dies. Everything we have uncovered in this journey, the power of words, the flow of invisible energy, the secret of protection, means little unless you live it. The truth must not only be heard, it must be practiced. The world is filled with people who know much but do little. The real initiate, Blavatsky said, is not the one who speaks of light, but the one who becomes it. To apply this teaching is to live with conscious attention. Begin tomorrow morning before the world awakens. When you open your eyes, pause for one breath and remember, you are energy before you are thought, spirit before you are form. Feel your body as the temple of that energy. As you rise, whisper inwardly, "My good remains with me." This simple act seals your aura for the day. It sets your vibration like the tuning of an instrument. You will feel the difference. The world may still send its noise, but it will not penetrate. When you meet people, listen with more than your ears. Observe the tone, the vibration, the unspoken message behind words. Do not judge, just feel. When you receive praise, anchor yourself. Breathe deeply and think, "I accept the light, and I return the light." When you feel discomfort or envy in another's tone, use the sacred formula silently. Your words to your shoulders, "My good remains with me." These phrases are not magic charms. They are signals to your subconscious that you choose awareness over reaction. The more you use them, the faster your inner state becomes steady, like still water reflecting the sky. At night, review your day without guilt or pride. Ask yourself, where did I lose energy? Where did I remain awake? Awareness grows through reflection. Blavatsky said that every night should be a small initiation, a quiet meeting between the soul and its own truth. Write what you noticed, even briefly. You are teaching your subconscious that your life matters, that every moment has meaning. Modern psychology confirms what the mystics always knew. The brain rewires itself through repetition. If you practice conscious awareness for 21 days, your emotional reactions begin to change automatically. You become calmer, more magnetic, less vulnerable to negativity. This is the true evolution of the self, not in theory, but in biology. Your cells respond to your consciousness. Your energy becomes disciplined. The invisible begins to obey you because you have learned to obey your own higher will. But what about when life tests you? When criticism hurts, when loss shakes you, when fear whispers that all this is too abstract to matter? Blavatsky faced this too. She reminded her students that spiritual protection does not mean the absence of pain. It means the ability to walk through it without losing the center. The storms of life come to every soul. The difference is whether you drown or learn to stand on the waves. Awareness turns chaos into teacher. Here's a simple plan for living these teachings. Begin each day with remembrance. Before touching your phone, breathe and repeat a phrase of affirmation. You can use, Positivity is with me and in me, or my light expands in peace. This sets the frequency for your day. Guard your words. Speak only what is true, necessary, and kind. Pause before saying thank you and feel the energy behind it. If it feels hollow, replace it with awareness. I appreciate it deeply. Clean your energy. At night, visualize a gentle light surrounding you, washing away the weight of the day. You can also take a short shower with salt or simply imagine light flowing from your head to your feet. Reflect daily. Write 3 moments when you felt balanced and 3 when you felt drained. Awareness grows where attention goes. Affirm sovereignty. When facing envy, criticism, or manipulation, silently repeat, "Your words to your shoulders, my good remains with me." Feel the boundary of your own peace. Serve consciously. True protection comes not only from defense, but from giving light. Compliment others sincerely. Bless those who hurt you. Wish well even to strangers. When you generate light, darkness cannot touch you. Rest in silence. Spend at least 5 minutes daily in complete stillness. No music, no distractions. Blavatsky called this the dialogue with the divine within. In that silence, the higher self speaks. If you practice these steps for a single week, you will notice changes. People will feel calmer around you. Problems will seem easier to solve. Even your physical space will feel different, lighter, more ordered. You will understand that spirituality is not about escaping life, but about mastering it moment by moment. The modern world may laugh at the idea of energy and vibration, but numbers tell a different story. Studies show that 70% of people feel emotionally exhausted after daily social interactions. Depression and anxiety rise each year despite material comfort. Why? Because energy is being lost faster than it is renewed. People give attention away without boundaries. They speak without intention. They forget the sacred nature of every word, every exchange. The wisdom of Blavatsky, though written more than a century ago, is not ancient superstition. It is survival for the modern soul. Remember, protection begins with consciousness, not fear. You do not need to hide from the world. You only need to walk through it awake. Each time you choose awareness, you strengthen an invisible light that not only guards you, but blesses those near you. Your peace becomes contagious. You become a lighthouse in a world lost in noise. And when you fall, for we all fall, return to the simplest act. Breathe, remember, and begin again. Spiritual strength is not perfection, it is persistence. Every return to awareness polishes the mirror of your soul. Now it is time to act. These words will only live if you give them life. Take one step today. Start with the phrase that carries power and balance. Write it now in the comments below. Positivity is with me and in me. As you type it, imagine thousands of others doing the same, forming a web of light across the world. You are not alone. You are part of a silent awakening. If you felt something awaken within you, a calm, a curiosity, a spark, do not let it fade. Click the red button to subscribe and continue this path of awareness and strength. Only those who seek light will find it, and perhaps you were guided here for a reason. Like this video if you felt its truth, and share it with someone who might need protection of the soul. Leave your questions or experiences in the comments anonymously if you wish. Your words may help another traveler on this path. Remember always, awareness is power, and power guided by compassion transforms the world. The light you guard today becomes the hope someone else finds tomorrow. This is the law of energy, the law of the soul, and now you know it. So live it.